Good evening everybody and welcome to the vlog for Tuesday, August 8th, 2017. I hope you're all doing well. So a little update for you guys. I did manage to pick up a Nintendo Switch and so far I've been absolutely loving it. I'm a huge fan of the system and it's the topic of today's video, so I'll be touching more on it in just a little bit. But real quickly, I'd just like to give you guys a little update on my game because now that the whole Ludum Dare craziness is well behind me, I've been able to get back to focus on my real game. So today was mostly spent making improvements on my pathfinding algorithm for my procedural generation system. If you'll recall, my pathfinding algorithm essentially made a random path along the map from a starting point on the top of the grid to an exit point on the bottom of the grid. And it worked really well, but I just wanted to make it a little more interesting for the player. So today I've been looking at ways where I can make more of a maze as opposed to just a straight line. And so I had to modify a little bit of what I already had in place pretty heavily, but I have most of the back end structure in place for all that. So on Thursday, it should be pretty easy for me to actually start generating mazes. And so this is pretty important for me to get in place because this is what I'm going to be testing in my next build of the game, which again, I'm hoping to have ready by the end of the week. So let's get to the topic of the show, which is the Nintendo Switch and why I think you as a developer should be making a game for it. So first and foremost is portability, which I personally think is the strongest part of this console. Now, if you compare it to my phone, I've got the Nexus 6P, which is a pretty big phone as is, but you'll see that the screen of the Switch is just like barely bigger than my phone. And it's also a pretty lightweight device, so this is something super easy to just take anywhere you go. Nintendo with the Switch has mastered what we've all been asking for many years, which is a home console experience on the go. Now again, the Switch has only been out for a couple months, so the game library isn't too big as of right now, but there are already a number of examples of games that would typically only be playable to someone on their home console or computer. And for me personally, that's something that I was super impressed about when I first started playing around with this console, is that the portable gaming experience is just excellent. I've pretty much only played Mario Kart on it, but when you compare that to Mario Kart on the original DS, it completely blows that out of the water. I mean, Mario Kart on the original DS is a great game and it runs very well, but it's a little bit watered down, doesn't have like the greatest graphics, but on the Switch in handheld mode, it looks phenomenal. And I mean, it plays really well and everything, and it truly is like a full console experience in the palms of your hands. So I think that the Switch's portability is a really excellent factor for game developers. I mean, this theoretically means that your players can have access to your game literally wherever they are on the planet, as long as the battery's charged, of course. And of course, the more people who are playing and investing time into your game is really just great for the short and long-term success of your games and company. I think for me personally, my game lends itself very well to portability because it's a roguelike and you're going to be dying a lot. You know, playthroughs only last so long. So at least the way I'm envisioning it turning out right now, I think that it would be perfect for people on their bus or train ride to work, or maybe kids sitting in the back of the car when they're driving somewhere. And there's a pretty decent amount of players who really value portability in gaming. And developing for the Switch, you'll have access to that market right at your fingertips. Now, the second reason that you should develop for the Nintendo Switch is that you can plug it in at home and play on your big screen TV. And this was another thing that I was super impressed of how well the Switch handles it. So it comes with a little docking station and you can slide the console into the dock, and almost instantly the screen pops up on your television. And I'll have to admit, I was pretty blown away of how good it looked when I plugged it in the television. I had started playing around with the device just in handheld mode, did a couple races in Mario Kart, and then I slid it into the dock to see how well it looked. And it was pretty amazing to me because it really was like a full console game on the television and not just like an up-resed handheld game. That was kind of the moment that I realized how powerful this system can actually be. And if you want to take it a step further, you can pick up a Pro controller, which at $70 I think is pretty expensive, but when compared to the Joy-Con controllers that it comes with, this fits much better in your hands and feels a lot better to play. So again, on the Switch, you can totally target the hardcore market. The next reason that you should develop for the Nintendo Switch is that every Switch owner has the equipment required for cooperative play. Now what I mean by that is every single Switch comes with two controllers. So I've got the device right here, and if you push these little buttons on the back, you can slide these controllers out, and not only can you put these in the included grip to make one controller, but you can turn them to the side and actually use them as two separate controllers. And they even come with these little shoulder extenders that you can slide on You can have a little bit better use of the shoulder buttons. Now yes, these things are very small, especially for people like me who have pretty big hands, but it is totally usable and perfect for a couple casual gamers who just want to play some games with their friends. And you can combine cooperative play with the portability aspect just by flipping out the built-in kickstand, and now you can set the screen up anywhere for you and your buddy to play whatever you want. And so if you're developing for the Switch, you have another market at your fingertips, which is the people who like to play local cooperative play. Also, the Switch has some very good options for wireless multiplayer. Not only can you play online multiplayer, as most systems do these days, but you can also do a more direct local wireless connection. So if you have a few friends with the Switch, you can all connect wirelessly and play with each other. So there are a lot of really good options for people who are trying to incorporate multiplayer into their games. And so my last reason of why I think you should develop for the Nintendo Switch is the fact that it's a new platform. Again, like I said, the system's only about 5 months old and the game library isn't all that big. So that means if you bring your game to the Nintendo Switch, you'll definitely have a lot of eyes on your game, because there's simply just not that many to choose from. And also I've been hearing a lot of rumors that Nintendo is getting a lot better about supporting independent games, which is a great thing, because for all the reasons that I mentioned and many more, I think that the Nintendo Switch can be an awesome console for indie games. I think that the Nintendo Switch shares some pretty similar qualities with the PlayStation Vita, which turned out to be an amazing system for independent games. So I think with proper messaging and proper support for developers, Nintendo can really have their hands on something big for independent game developers. So those are the reasons why I think that you should develop for the Nintendo Switch. And for those reasons, as well as a few others, I think that my game would fit very well in the Nintendo Switch. Again, nothing confirmed right now, I'm still just kind of testing the waters, but I am way more impressed with this console than I ever thought that I was going to be. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up, so let me know what you think of the Nintendo Switch in the comment section below, and what kinds of games would you want to see come to the Nintendo Switch. So if you liked this video and you found it useful, please give it a big old thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you can stay up to date on the latest and greatest from me, and I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I'm gonna go play some Mario Kart.